Hello and welcome back to Alice Goes Sailing. I hope you enjoyed all of those Isles of Scilly episodes, but now it's time to get Amerikai ready for this season now that the sun has come out. So we've got a bunch of projects on, loads of exciting ones, but the first one on the list is this. And if you know anything about me, you know I love my gadgets. So that's exactly what this is. The kind people at VirCru sent this over to me to get it installed on Amerikai. It's basically a smart system for your boat with a bunch of sensors to let you know what's going on, like smart tags, water level sensors and motion sensors and whatnot. So yeah, very exciting. It is a sponsored spot, so I will let you know if it's absolute rubbish or if it's any good. So we're going to get this thing installed today and see how easy it is to start off with, and then throughout the season I'll let you know how I get on with it. So let's get cracking. Right, we're in the shed now, and I'm going to open this thing up. As you can see, the packaging is all cardboard from the look of it, so that's pretty good. In this kit, you get two sensors and the hub. Right, get rid of that. Let's open up the hub first. Right, you've got a set of instructions. Very simple, basically going over what's included in the kit, some contact information, how it works. So yeah, installing the app, things like that, and then assume further towards the back, install process and safety stuff, where to mount it. So yeah, fairly straightforward. This is the hub. We pull this box out. So mounting plate, what's this look like? Sticky stuff, bunch of bolts and hardware, so that's handy to have, and all the wires to make it run, fuses in there as well. So that's the hub. Over here you can see on the side labeled, this is the motion sensor. Oh, this is looking fancy. So wow, that's it. I guess that's the little motion sensing part. So you stick this on a roof. But yeah, nice small. White, so it should match the inside of Amerikai, so that's good. So that's the motion sensor there. If we crack into this next sensor, we've got a high water sensor. So if your boat's sinking, I guess, it'll tell you. So another instruction booklet, same kind of thing. Yeah, so you can see nice pictures they've got inside of here. What I like to see, looks similar again. Stick you through there. So yeah, little metal coil on each side sticking out, so I guess when that hits the water it'll set off alarms. So that's very similar to the motion sensor size box, so that'll just stick wherever, and this goes to wherever you want it to tell you there's water. There's some other sensors you can get as well, but in this kit you get two. I did opt to get another sensor as well, because why not? This is the smart tag. Now this is handy for me because on my boat I have an outboard, and the problem with an outboard is it can be removed. Now the whole point of this is, as a smart tag, there's basically two parts to it. So let's get this out. You've got your main tag thing here, and then you've got your little tag. Now you can have this set up on a companionway door, so when they separate it tells you and alerts you. Or you can have this in your outboard engine or on a tender or something similar, and then when this goes so far away it will alert your system and let you know. So it'd be very handy for my outboard, which is just mounted on the back with no real security. Sometimes I throw a lock on it, but you know, anyone can go up to the boat and take it off. Now taking a look at VirCru's website, we can see the prices in the UK of the launch bundle and all the additional parts of the system you can get, like the DC remote switch, engine hour sensor and smoke detectors. Now the launch bundle will give you the basics for £250, and this includes a lot of different readouts with everything that's included. Now you do have to get a subscription as shown with the different durations you can do. This basically pays for the mobile connection within the hub and all the data storage and sorting in the cloud. Right, now we've made a complete mess in my shed. I think we should go make one on Amerikai and get this stuff installed. Right, we're on board Amerikai now. We're going to install the hub first, and it's probably going to go somewhere over here, but we'll figure that out in a minute. One thing I did notice is on all of these wires, as you can see, they're all labelled very nicely on all of them, so you know what they're doing. So there's one that runs to battery number 1 positive, and then negative, and then you've got battery number 2 positive, and then the bilge pump. And this also has a GPS inside of it, so you can set up a fence for any anchor alarms, so that sends you alerts and things like that. It also has an angle sensor inside of it, so you can see how much you're heeling. So if you're sailing along in a monohull, you'll be able to see if you're dipping a rail or not. The other thing you should know is you've got this little box here with a QR code. Now you would scan that QR code on your phone and you can set this up to it. Now underneath here I've got battery number 1 with positive and negative. For now I'm just going to hook directly up to them to get this thing set up and on. And then I'll do the wire runs a little bit later. And you get about a little over a metre to play with when you're mounting this, but you can obviously extend the wires if you need to. But this is now powered up, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my phone and open up the app. So we have the app here. I'm going to share my screen so you can see it, and we're going to set this thing up. Right, so I've got my app open. All I need to do is scan this QR code. So we go into settings, hub and device settings, and then at the bottom it says scan another device. So you get your little QR code that you can see yourself over there, and then you scan your QR code, make sure it's not blurry. Hub successfully attached, and you can see all of the readouts and data points it's collected there. Now that we've got it connected, you can see those 4 different readouts it's got. We've got battery voltage number 1, and you can adjust and rename these things, so you can rename it to whatever you want. I actually recommend doing that so you don't get confused. You've got upper and lower limits. You can edit the alerts, so you can set those limits, which is pretty handy. And you can also turn this off if you don't even want to know about it at all. So now you can go back straight into this. Oh, it's giving me a boat angle alert saying we're too high because the sensors are, well, just around the place. We haven't mounted it yet. Now we've got that out of the way, we can figure out where I'm going to mount this thing. Now in the instruction booklet, we follow through the page. I'll show you little pictures here. So there's one, you can mount it to the roof somewhere, you can mount it to your mast. Basically you can mount it anywhere apart from in the water. So that says inside, we can do that. But for me, I'm not going to mount it to my mast because it's only a little thing, and I don't want more wires going through the roof. I'm not going to mount it on the roof because I've got walking decks, so I've got no like bare roof where it can mount. I could mount it to the rails at the back, but I don't really want to do that. So I'm just going to mount it inside, and they've got a nice little bracket. So I think if I spin you around, so I'm going to mount this hub right in here on its little bracket, nice and out of the way, and we'll see how well it does being completely surrounded by probably a centimetre thick fiberglass, because it's basically got like your phone and it needs to get a signal to be able to communicate with you. So we're going to see how well it does in there, but yeah, you can mount it pretty much anywhere apart from in the water. Alright, I've attached the bracket now because I think it'd be a little bit easier screwing it with it on rather than having to fit this inside of the cupboard. Let's get this top screw here. Alright, we have the mount successfully in, nice and solid, not going anywhere, but you can see what I mean with all the fiberglass and wood surrounding it. So yeah, we'll see how well it does. Got the wire running out here that's going to be thrown in with this spaghetti, and down here we have the batteries. This battery will be changing soon, so I'm not going to wire it in permanently. Now with the temporary wiring done and the permanent mounted hub up there, I'm going to get all of the sensors now, and we're going to start connecting them up with the app and placing them where they need to go. So let's get cracking. Right, the first sensor we're going to install is the water sensor. Now this is the bit that get wet, and this is the bit you got to keep kind of dry. But yeah, at the back of here you got like it's like VirCru, but not with the fuzzy stuff. It's just like more like plastic, so it doesn't get stuff all up in it. And all you got to do is scan this in on the app, and we'll position this somewhere down in the bilge. I'm thinking closer to the middle here, because that's where I don't expect water to be, and I kind of want to know if there is water there, so give me an alert. Now, before we install this water sensor, we've got to go onto our app, click scan another device, and get it focused, and then it assigns that, so you can see that popped up there. It's just connecting, and you can also see the battery levels. Now on the hub it's a little low, that's because I disconnected it and it was running off its battery for a little while. That's charging back up, and this sensor has 100% because I guess it's been in a rest state because I haven't used it yet. So we're going to get this all set up now and connect it up. So this water sensor on my boat, I'm going to put it through this hole here. The little box will be mounted on the wall over here, and then this sensor will be mounted somewhere on the floor here. Because my boat's a twin keel, I have a very shallow bilge, and as soon as water starts spilling up here, I kind of want it to read. So that's where I'm going to put this sensor. But if you have a deep keel boat, you want to put this where you wouldn't expect water to be, so it'll alert you when it gets to there, so above the level where your bilge pump would drain to. But yeah, we're going to stick this down and get it installed. Right, so that's the sensor all securely fixed. It uses 3M backing, so that's pretty good. Now this little box is fixed on with some VirCru kind of thing, so you kind of like twisting it's the best way, and it just comes off for when you have to access the back at all. But yeah, it just pushes back on, bit of a wriggle, and it's fitted up again, and that's it fitted. So that's the water sensor done. We're going to shut that down there. Woof. Now I think the next one we'll do is the motion sensor. Now before we get started with this install, we're going to scan this into the app. So if we go to hub and device settings again and scan another device, and then find the QR code. There you go. Connecting, good battery, motion and temperature. So another thing to note is these little boxes actually read the temperature. So depending on how many sensors you get, standard you'd get 2 sensors. So that means you'd have 2 temperature readings for wherever you put these boxes. For me, I've got 3 sensors, so I've got 3 different temperatures. So I'll know exactly what temperature is, and because I'm in England, I get to moan about it. Right, so we now have the sensor mounted up here, nice and securely fixed. So that'll give us our readout for motion. Now before I install this smart tag, I've got to scan it in. So I'm going to go back to the app, scan another device, and then find the QR code. Boom. Connected. Perfect, smart tag. Right, now that's installed on the app, you can see under smart tag here it says device is present, so that means it's close enough to that hub. And then we've also got the door sensor, which is this little magnet. So you would put this on your companionway and you'd mount this close. It's got to be 8mm or something like that. But yeah, just place this on the side. At the minute it's saying open, and it'll take a second just to update, but as long as it's on the side here, it should say closed. There we go. Just went closed, and it gives you a little notification. You can change all that, and it also logs the entries down below on date and time that it actually triggered, so that's dead handy. But for my use, I'm going to be fitting this in the outboard, so if someone takes my outboard, they'll then notify me. Now the smart tag needs to get mounted onto the outboard. Now you can stick it on the top, you can stick it on the side, you'd probably be able to stick it inside of this cowling as well, or somewhere around the engine bay. So all that is the sticky back stuff again, and you can stick that anywhere. So then when that leaves the boat, it will notify you. Right, we've now got everything installed. We do have to run the wires, but I'm going to save that for when I change the battery. But all the sensors are running. We've got the water sensor, we've got the smart tag, which I'm just going to stick on the outboard in a minute. They have got the magnetic thing, but we're not going to use that because we're not using it on the sliding door. And then we've also got the motion sensor up here, which has moaned at me a couple of times when I come in and left the alarm on. So seems to work. And I've tested it out by going far away on the app, and it connects up nicely and it gives me a nice location, allows me to do geofencing. The app works really well, really smooth. It's good to check all the features, adjust things, rename stuff. So, and the lag from when something senses something is about 10 seconds from what the app reads. So it's pretty quick. Anyway, we're going to see how I get on with it this season, and hopefully it calms my nerves a bit when I leave the boat. Hello, it's Alex from the future. Now, I've been using the VirCru system all throughout the season. It's now September, the end of the season, and I just got back from a trip from Dartmouth. Now I'm going to show you a clip of when I was in Bembridge at Easter with Sam, going to get pizza, and we're trying out the VirCru for the first time. Right, that's Marikai. Well and truly beach back there. But for now, we're going to head up this hill over here, just over there, and we're going to get pizza and beer. But this is a pretty good test of my VirCru, the security system, motion sensors, the anchor alarm. I'm going to set that on my phone now, then it'll alert me if there's any problems. Let's climb now. I've got 120 meters set, which is about right. Finish. Successfully updated. And then it'll tell me. Now you can see on the map here, that little red dot is the boat. And all my sensors, so my outboard's present, as you can see, all the temperatures, water's dry, and no motion on board. Now that worked perfectly for when I was at Bembridge and all throughout the season, even at Dartmouth when I had to leave the boat on a mooring for quite a few hours in a strong tide. That came in very handy there. But now I'm going to go over some of the features that I really like and some of the problems that I've had with it. Now, some of the really cool features are obviously the geo-tracking, all the sensors you can do, but another one I really like is the trip logging, where it actually logs your trips automatically. You don't have to press a button before you go or anything like that, and it's really handy because say you're setting it on navionics or sail ties, sometimes you might forget, but you don't really have that problem with VirCru because it just does it automatically, which I really like. Now, another really cool feature is the location sharing. I can send a link to, say, my mum or some friends, and they can see exactly where the boat is just by going on a web browser by clicking that link. Another feature I like is how easy it is to actually set it all up. You could do it in literally an hour or less. Scanning in all of the devices is so easy with the QR codes, and apart from that, it's just a bit of double-sided tape and on it goes, really. And it's also really cool to see that they're bringing in more and more sensors like the smoke detection, carbon monoxide, and then you've got remote switching that you can do. Say you were in another country, you can turn on your fridge, say you're going to come back for the weekend, you can turn on your fridge early, things like that. I think those are really cool. Now, I have had some problems with it. The first one being the smart tag. Now, using it as a magnetic companionway sensor works perfectly. You get a delay of about 10 seconds, but when I've stuck it to the outboard and removed the outboard, say, stick it in the shed, it takes about 15 minutes before it notifies me that the outboard's left or even recognises it has left, so that's about 15 minutes. I'm sure that can be sorted out with an update because it's just some parameters that need to be changed, and being a new product, I would have thought that'd be fairly easy. Now, another problem that I had, which has been rectified since, has been the delay it takes for the bilge wet and dry sensor to actually tell me when it's gone back to dry from being wet, because I get a bit of rainwater in this and it does get wet pretty quick. But when I've dried it out, it takes about 5 minutes to show as dry now. Before, it didn't really do it within a day, so that's been fixed now with an update. Now, there's one change that I would like to make, which is not really a problem, but I would like to see the change, is the geofencing. The geofence minimum limit is either off or 100 meters. Now, 100 meters is a pretty large distance. Say you're on a mooring, you don't want that to be more than, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 meters. Or if you're at anchor, you don't want it to be 100 meters because that's a bit excessive. And also positioning that geofence after the fact, because you might go in, drop an anchor, and then need to set your location. Now, your location will be where the boat currently is, and you can't actually move that circle anywhere on the map. So that could be a little upgrade they could do. Now, apart from those things, it's a very good product. I really like it because it reduces my anxiety when I have to leave the boat. Especially, say, I was a silly leaving the boat in an anchorage and to go off exploring around an island. It's just really nice to have that comfort knowing exactly where the boat is and what's happening to the boat. And like I say, it's a virtual VirCru, so yeah, really like it, and I'll leave a link in the description if you want to pick one up. And thank you again for VirCru for sending this out to me as my first sponsor spot. So that's it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, leave a like and a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.